Hi guys, as some of you may know from my other channel, Sassy Funke, I was born and raised in Nigeria. And some of the first money lessons that I learned were from my father. My father came from very humble, very humble beginnings. And he was very much instrumental in instilling in me many key values. I would say a lot of the behaviors that I've learned around money has come directly from him. So today's video is going to be all about the 6 money lessons that I learned from my Nigerian father. If it's your first time here, please subscribe and hit that bell notification button. I am here creating to help the average African navigate money better and also to empower people to plan for the life they deserve. So number 1, stay away from debt. And if you have it, pay it off as soon as you can. My dad always told me if you can't afford something, stay away from it. I've actually never heard that my dad owed anybody money. My dad, I know, does not like debt. I would say he hates debt, especially if it's a short-term debt. So not like a mortgage, which is a long-term debt, but just, credit card debts. He's not a fan of that. He always told me when I first moved to the UK back in 2001 that I should stay away from credit cards, as tempting as they can be. You could imagine someone like me coming from Nigeria now getting access to credit. It's like, wow. He told me that if I ever did get any of those credit cards, I should always make sure I pay out my balance before the month end. He told me that a lot of these companies basically are in it for profit, right? They're in the business of lending you money to make money off you, which essentially means that they're getting richer and you're getting poorer. Number 2, plan and budget. My dad always planned. I remember at the tender age of 14 when he was thinking and considering sending my brother and I from Nigeria to the UK to further our studies. He literally called us, to the living room, brought out his laptop, brought out his spreadsheet that just had so many numbers on there. And the spreadsheet was basically a budget plan for the next 5 years where he showed his own specific income, the outgoings, and basically showed us in black and white what the plan was for the next 5 years. The spreadsheet basically let us know that our school fees was taking all the family's money and that we had to cut down on maybe additional holidays, going to nice restaurants, that will basically be soaking Gary when we came back from our fancy school to Nigeria for the holidays. That was made it was clear to us. Planning and budgeting helped us to understand the sacrifices that had to be made for us to attain sort of the education that my father aspired for us, which also meant that we didn't play at all when we were in school because we knew that money had been spent. Number 3, don't waste your money on wants. Focus on your needs. I have a story here. I remember when I was in Scotland after he sent us to school, and at school we had sort of like a elaborate party, and I remember asking my dad that I would love to buy a new dress for this party, and he said to me, how about all the clothes you took with you when you travel? You don't have any of those clothes? End of story is that he never ever bought that dress for me, right? He never gave me the money for that dress. But when I asked my dad, I need a new laptop to do my work better, the next day I would receive a delivery of a new laptop. This really taught me the importance on spending money on things that actually yield true value. For him, that was education. So for me, I spend now, I think before I spend and make sure I spend money on things that I know are going to yield me true value in the future, especially now that I'm a mother. The way I spend definitely is thinking more of the future. How will the future plan out? Am I spending wisely, right? Number 4, don't compare your life with others. Growing up, my dad always had this air of contentment around him. You know, we grew up such like humble beginnings in Ijebu Ode, you know, back then in this like Ikongba estate. And, you know, we moved from there to Ikotun. Later on years, we moved to Ikoyi. But I would say that consistently across all wherever we lived, my dad always had this level of contentment with what he had. He never spent lavishly. Like, I still feel he's still the same person he was back in the day when we were living in Jebu. There was always a level of happiness in his life. He never compared his life to the lives of friends that were, you know, super wealthier than he was. You know, those friends that are living the private jet life. And honestly, that experience made me never envious of colleagues or friends that were seemingly attaining wealth or wealthier than I was. I was always happy for them, but never jealous or never trying to go out of my way to achieve the same things. Yes, I never tried to live up to other people's, you know, perception of wealth. If anything, I'm always the first to say, I beg. I mean, Aisha, let me see, my money no reach that one, no. You know, like my money is not up to that one. That's what that means. Number 5, always live under your means. My dad always, as in from the days of Ijebu days, always lived under his means. He lost his dad very early on as a teenager. And, you know, very early at a young age, he was working as a farmer just to make ends meet, to make money to go to school. So I think he's always had this relationship with money, a very interesting relationship with money, because growing up, he hardly had any, right? And I also think probably because of the fear of losing it also, and the fear of making sure that he always has something to live on, he's always lived under his means. He's never, even if he got a bonus back then, he doesn't like lavishly spend it. He probably saves it or invests it, right? So he's really instilled in me that it's really important for you to live under your means, right? Especially if you're thinking of a future, you're thinking of family, you're thinking of other things you might want to do in the future, like try and live under your means. Just because you got this big contract or you got this new money doesn't mean suddenly you should change your way of living because of that. Finally, number 6, to always save for a rainy day. My dad loves to save, even if he doesn't have a specific plan for that particular savings. He always used to put money aside for just a rainy day. Like, one day we shall need this money. As in, he had things he was clearly planning for that he would save for, but he always saved extra just for extra. I actually remember when I worked for JP Morgan and the company asked me, I think they had a matching policy whereby you would put money in your pension and they could match that money, you know. And I remembered actually putting the maximum amount of money possible so that they would match the exact amount, because it was just a great way for me to save, even though I didn't know sort of like, you know, obviously it's for my pension, but if I wanted to take it out in the future, I didn't know what it would be for, but it was just a great way to put money aside. And even aside from that, throughout my work journey, I remember when I used to work at M&S when I was in university, even though I was earning like £100 a month, I would literally take £50 from that money, put it like direct debit in my savings every month. And even till now, I try and do that, to always have money going into my savings regularly, because you just never know. This habit for me has been incredibly useful, especially when I decided back in, I think, 2003 or 4, I said I wanted to do an MBA, and the money that I had saved up for just came in very handy, which basically allowed me not to struggle to sort of like accommodate an MBA at the time. Yes, guys, so those are the 6 money lessons that I learned from my Nigerian father, my very frugal Nigerian father. I really hope this video has been super useful. Like, what are the lessons that you've learned from your parents, whether they're Nigerian, African, you know, Asian, American? Like, I would love to hear the key money lessons that has really helped you to become who you are, that's really helped you to sort of like have a better relationship with money. Like, I would love to hear all those in the comment section below. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the first video on my channel. Thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate every single one of you. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a thumbs up to just let me know that you like videos like this so I can create them for you in the future. Also, if you have any recommendations of videos you would love to see on my new channel, please leave them below. Thank you again, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.